So if my directions say to use benchmarks to estimate, and I have this problem, 12 and 41 hundredths minus 6 and 47 hundredths. I'm going to think of it in terms of money. So really this in my head is saying $12.41 and $6.47. All I care about when I'm using benchmarks are these last two numbers, where if I'm thinking about money, that would be my cents, because that's what I'm going to use to determine if it's $0, 25 cents, 50 cents, 75 cents, or a dollar, based off my money with my benchmarks, those quarters. So I'm actually going to keep the 12 as it is. I'm not touching it, unless it would be one whole, because I'd have 4 quarters and I'd add it to that. But this one's not saying that. This is saying 41 cents. So I'm asking myself, 41 cents, is that close to 50 cents or is that close to 25 cents? Well, I know 41 cents is pretty close to 50 cents. So now I'm going to use my benchmark 50. Now I'm going to look at this number, $6.47. I'm only focusing in on the 47 cents, the 47 hundredths. I'm going to leave the 6 alone. And I'm only changing the thing in my circle. And I'm asking 47 hundredths, 47 cents. Is that close to 25 cents, 25 hundredths, 1 quarter, or 50 cents, 2 quarters, 50 hundredths? Well, that's pretty close to 50 cents. So then I'm going to subtract it. Bring down my decimal points, remember. 0 minus 0 is 0, 5 minus 0 is 5 minus 5 is 0, and then regroup. 12 minus 6 is 6. So my answer for this one would be 6 as a whole number. Let's look at another one. If I have the problem $8.12, or 8 and 12 hundredths, plus 5 and 52 hundredths, or $5.52. When I'm using benchmarks, my directions are to use benchmarks to estimate, not round. Use benchmarks to estimate. I'm only looking at the numbers after the decimal point to tell me what I need to do. So I'm going to actually keep the 8 as itself. Now I'm asking myself, 12 hundredths, 12 cents. Is that closer to no money at all? Or is that closer to 25 cents or 25 hundredths? Which one is it closer to? Well, 12 cents is actually closer to no money, so I'm going to turn that into 2 zeros. So then I'm going to focus on my next number. I'm going to keep the 5, my whole number 5, line up my decimal points, and I'm just focusing on the 52 hundredths, the stuff after the decimal points. So 52 hundredths, well, this one's easy. I'm thinking in my head, is it close to 50 cents or 75 cents? Well, 52 hundredths, 52 cents, is close to 50 cents or 50 hundredths. And then I just add, I make sure my numbers are lined up, my place values are on top of each other, and that my decimal points are on top of each other. Bring down my decimal points, and I know that 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 5 is 5, and I know that 8 plus 5 gives me 13. So my answer for this is 13 and 50 hundredths, or $13.50. Now let's go back to rounding. If my directions say to round to estimate, if it says round to estimate, we are rounding to the nearest whole number, unless it says something else. Unless it is more specific, where it says round to the nearest 10, round to the nearest 100, we are always going to focus on the one's place value. So if I have this number, 93 hundredths plus 18 hundredths. Remember, I'm rounding to the nearest whole number. So I'm going to circle the number in the whole number place value, because that's the only number that I am going to either keep the same or change. And then I'm going to underline the number to the right, because that number is going to tell me what's going to happen to the number that's circled. So remember my rule, 5 or higher, you're going to add 1. If it's less than 5, the number that's underlined, you're going to keep the number that's circled the same. So this 9 is telling me that I need to add 1 to the 0. Because remember, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, I'm adding 1. I'm bumping this number up that's circled. So I'm making this a 1. Now look to the next decimal. This 1 that's underlined is telling me that I'm going to keep this 0 the same because this is less than 5. My number that's underlined is less than 5. 4, 3, 2, 1, or 0 tells me that the number I circled is going to stay the same. And then this one's super easy to add. My estimate would be 1. Let's look at one more. If my directions say to round, to estimate, I am going to look to round to the whole number. So if my problem says $19.75 plus $3.98. I'm rounding to the nearest whole number. I'm going to circle the number in the whole number place value and underline the number to the right of it. So this one, I'm actually going to keep the 1 here, I think. Well, hold on a second. This is telling me 7 is greater than 5, so I need to add 1 to this 9. Okay, well, that would give me 10. So then I need to actually change all of this just to a 20. Now, look to the next one. This 9 is telling me that I need to add 1 to the 3. So that's going to become a 4. So now, this is simple math right here. 0 plus 4 is 4. 2 plus 0 is 2. So my estimate would be 24. Let's look at one last one. If I have 9 and 65 hundredths minus 3 and 12 hundredths, and my directions say to round to estimate, I'm focusing on the whole number. So I'm going to circle the whole number, underline the number to the right of it. Circle the whole number, underline the number to the right of it. This 6 is telling me that I need to add 1 to this 9. Because remember, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 is telling me that I need to bump this circled number up 1. So I'm adding 1, so now this becomes a 10. Put my subtraction symbol. Look to the next decimal. This 1 is telling me that I'm going to keep this 3 the same. Because remember, our rule is less than 5, the number that's circled does not move. It stays the same. So anything that's 4, 3, 2, or 1, or 0 is telling me that this circled number stays the same and I'm not touching it. So, regroup. 10 minus 3 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. So my actual answer, if it says round to estimate, would be 7.